Hello, and welcome to my TED Talk on Syria. In late April 2013, torture chambers were found by the Human Rights Watch in the city of Raqqa, Syria. These were found to be consistent with chambers discovered years before in Syria. These rooms were not made by criminals or lunatics, but the Syrian government itself. This is just one example of the human rights violations plaguing Syria at the moment. Multiple articles from the Declaration of Human Rights are being violated, but the two most prominent are Article 3, the right to life, liberty, and security of person, and Article 5, that no one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. The current Syrian president, Bashar al-Assad, has been using these violations to oppress the people of Syria. Right now, the most active helpers of stopping this are the United Nations and the Human Rights Watch. These violations have been present in Syrian society since the 1970s, when Bashar al-Assad's father, Hafez al-Assad, worked to take control over the Syrian government. Once in power, he used his new position to oppress the people, starting with Muslims, who were the majority. This regime has continued and has included the Hama massacre, known as the single deadliest act by any Arab government against its own people in the Middle East. Hafez later had two sons, named Bassel and Bashar. Bassel was thought to be the new corrupt ruler of Syria, and was given all the training needed for that position. However, when he died in a car crash in 1994, Bashar was forced into the throne. Many people thought he would bring more peace, as he had studied in Western civilization for most of his life. After promising many economic and social improvements in his campaign to become president, his reign over Syria became just as tyrannical as his father's. Since 2011, there have been many peaceful protests by the Syrian citizens. The government has reacted in a less friendly way, killing and torturing those who participate. As a result of this, there have been many reports of Syrian refugees fleeing to countries like Lebanon, Iraq, Turkey, and Jordan. There have been several ideas proposed to stop these violent human rights violations in Syria. The first one is to encourage richer countries like the United States to give weaponry to certain trustworthy citizens in Syria. There would have to be many agreements over the use of the guns to ensure the safety of other citizens. This would have to be monitored and regulated heavily, but it could provide the weak with the chance to overthrow the strong. The next proposal is to avoid and discourage all weapon usage. Right now, Russia and Iraq are supplying the Syrian army, but telling these countries to stop will only work if the United States sets an example and does not participate in any gun violence. This should be coupled with truces and encouragement of ceasefire between the two sides. The final idea is to limit the weaponry and power of Bashar al-Assad and his government. The United Nations should work to prevent Bashar al-Assad from using his most lethal weapons. Safe areas for citizens around the borders of Syria would have to be provided as another means for protection. This idea, possibly combined with the first one, could be the most effective way to stop the violence in Syria. The right to life, liberty, and security of person, and the right to protection from torture and degrading treatment are both rights listed in the Declaration of Human Rights that the Syrian government has chosen to violate. This has been continuing since the 1970s, when the al-Assad regime was first established. Since then, its reign has only grown more corrupt and violent towards its own people. In order to put an end to these violations, the United Nations must be organized and put one of the aforementioned plans into action. If this is done, the Syrian people might be able to rediscover these basic rights.